Bro, you stink. You're in a new place again. We're moving around. Yeah, because I cannot sit still in one place. No, I just try to figure out the best place in the house where I feel most productive and the most cozy, and apparently I feel the best being in the living room. At this point, I don't even have to show you like a tour of the house or anything, because you've seen me at all places of the house at this point. Regardless, it's real nice, it's real cozy. You know, in general, I've been looking around and sometimes I think, why do some of y'all just look like an expired string of cheese? But some people, when you get into a conversation with them, really they think brushing teeth is optional. When it's not. You should be doing it in the morning and at night. But some people start talking and you're like, oh. What's that bacteria buildup back there? Sir, ma'am, it. Some of you really want deep connections but really refuse to be vulnerable for even 2 seconds. That really tells about your personality, how much of a contradiction you are. As long as it works for you, as long as it works for you. And then there is also the people that are bragging about cutting people off like it's a flex. But at the end of the day, it just shows that you really cannot communicate. Whenever anything gets really rough or just any sort of conflict, instead of just talking, you just cut them off. Oh, they were toxic to me. I don't know what to do. So I just blocked them. Bye, ghosted. No. You just don't know how to communicate. You were never taught or learned how to do it. That's why you're just cutting people off. That's a lot of the times it. But hey girlies, still love you guys. Despite all of your flaws, really love what you're doing with your life. Love all of the adventurous decisions that you're making, the new outfits that you're trying. What I'm doing here is quite ironic because the topic of discussion that I chose to really dig into the sources of it is why compliments feel suspicious but criticism feels believable. Like you feel personally attacked a little bit whenever someone mentions anything. You're like, they're kind of saying truth about me though. But a compliment, that sounds fake. I was just looking at some of the people and what are the criticisms that they cannot handle. And some of the people say, just got a graded essay back and saw it had comments, so I shoved it somewhere so I won't look at it. I used to be that person. I used to be that person that would hate to get any feedback. I would not want to know my grade. I would not want to know what I did wrong. So whenever I would get a grade, I would quickly look at the percentage, but I would never look for like even better if or what went well, because I never kind of tried to give myself to be open to critiques that are being given by the other people, especially by like teachers, for example, to which you should consider, as your grade highly depends on that criticism. They're the experts, right? But I grew out of that. Right now I'm in university and I really look forward to not only the grade. The grade is also important because it tells you if you passed or not. That's the most important thing. But it does tell you what went well or what you can do better. And I'm always looking forward to knowing what are my weaknesses and what are my strengths, because that's where you learn. That's where you get all of the information. That's where you get all the juice. To some people, criticism, they say that it makes them feel insanely insecure and paranoid that whoever gave the constructive criticism secretly hates me. If I really think about it, I feel like I really had this feeling. But up until this day, I don't know if it was actually the case or not. Actually, I had 2 cases. First case, both of them were in school. For my A-levels, I did history, linguistics, like English language, and English literature. For literature, everything was great. Linguistics, that was rough because the teacher fucking hated me for no reason. Like, I would do my work, and one time, I shit you not, this guy looks at me and tells me, I can see the illness from your work. And I was like, you what now? I never expected that from a teacher's mouth, but also I was in Russia here in Moscow and finishing A-levels, the British system, and the teachers themselves were Russian. But wow, that's brutality right there. And I always did my work. I always did my work, despite the fact I never really liked linguistics. I always did my work. I always tried my best. But he also never liked what he was doing. I'm gonna tell you something. This teacher was also hated by the school because, you know, by each term you would have to write about the student, how they were throughout the term and everything like that. He wrote such bad reviews for each student that the school had demanded him to rewrite it because it was so bad. Like, he shat on students. He never had a single person. No, he had one student in my classroom that he adored. That was the only exception. She was really smart. For him to be even told off by the school, that tells you something. The second case scenario, history. For history, we had a teacher. She had such a monotone of a voice. Whatever was going through, it came through one ear, came out the other, because it was just difficult to concentrate whenever she spoke. But if you did pay really close attention, it was interesting. Regardless, history is interesting by itself, to which I didn't know before, because back in school when I was in China, British school, our teacher, instead of talking about history and the content, he was talking about his love life and what was wrong with it. He was complaining and shit talking about whatever is going on in his life. Okay, free gossip, but I just came to that school. I had no clue what the fuck was English. First of all, I spoke zero English. Well, okay, I spoke 1% of English. Not even that. And with an extreme accent. But I didn't need your personal life. To be honest, it was quite interesting. The juice that was produced from that, very wet. But regardless, coming back to the teacher that was in Russia that I was having for A-levels, we would have like end of term exams just for practice before the real exams, just to see how much we have learned. I would be studying my ass off. Like, I genuinely wanted to have good grades for history because I enjoyed the subject. It was a difficult subject to always need to remember all the dates and all of that and what was happening in between. But she always gave me the lowest grades. And when I would ask her, she would be like, oh, you can do better. And then when it was actually midterm exams that we had to do, that was not marked by her. No. Or yes, it was not marked by her. Do you know what was happening? I got an A for the topic that we were learning, and when we had the exam, she gave me an E. Now, I'm not a mathematician or some type of sort person that is good with math, but it takes quite a bit for you to go from an E to an A. How could I, within like 2-3 months, go from an E to an A? And it wasn't the fact that I had more time to study, because I didn't really revise. I just studied the subject. Let it be, because I genuinely thought that I was really bad at the subject itself, but apparently it wasn't. So I don't know. It did make me paranoid. We're coming back to the quote that I was saying that it makes some people feel insanely insecure and paranoid that whoever gave the constructive criticism secretly hates me. In those two cases, I do truly believe that these two people had something against me. Now, is it a fun story to tell? Absolutely. Do I give a shit about it? No. Did I give a shit back then? Absolutely. Because these grades were holding my future. So I had to make sure that I care. If I didn't care, then why am I even studying, you know? At the end of the day, I feel like if Even if you have a teacher that somehow is sabotaging you for whatever reason that they come up with, I don't know, their personal love life is going shambles and they decide to attack you instead. Well, make sure that you know that you're actually putting the effort. If you're actually putting the effort, if you're sitting down studying and trying to learn the content, but there is something that is just not clicking, you know that you put the effort. So you shouldn't be believing word for word what they think of the criticism that they're giving you. You can take the criticism like 50%. The other 50 is just their personal hatred towards themselves. That's how I would take it. Now, if I were to look in general at how we should take a look at constructive criticism, I did find someone from Reddit that said realistically spreading. I guess they want to say realistically speaking, but if you want to spread, go ahead. You shouldn't feel embarrassed since the point of constructive criticism is to be better. You're not perfect, so there will always be edges to polish. I think you feel this way because you're ashamed of your flaws. One must learn to love their flaws. And I find this quote is a perfect representation of someone that have a secure relationship with themselves, that they understand that we are not perfect, that we are allowed to make mistakes, because what do? We learn from mistakes, that we evolve from our mistakes. And if we don't evolve from our mistakes, we'll commit the mistakes until we learn from them. That's inevitable truth about the equation. Now, me, someone talking that don't know about math, I sure do talk a lot about it. It is true that constructive criticism is something that you should be taking as to try to be better. However, my point to say, when you should listen to a constructive criticism, it is from someone that you are sure that have the qualities that you also like in a person. If it's someone that you could not give a single about, then just why are you even listening? Just nod and go do whatever you think is right for you. They don't know that. They have no clue what is your ideal. So if they don't know that, you come up to them, they just decided this day, this is the day that they want to be telling you what is wrong with you. They decided to just attack you today. It's because a lot of the times people just have bad days and they don't know how to channel their energy. Choose wisely who you're trying to listen to and who you don't listen to. Another thing, someone that is insecure in themselves, in who they are, they will always think of the flaws more whenever they are listening to constructive criticism. They will not be listening to be better. They will be affirming whatever flaws that they find in themselves. You need to kind of see how many people are actually telling you that this is one of your flaws. If it is one of your flaws, it's not the end of the world. It's fixable. You know what's not fixable? Death. That's not fixable. Everything else, you can work on yourself. You can do something about it. You can strive to be better. That's what you can do. Now, death, that's the end. Unless if you're religious or whatever. If you're religious, you think that you go to either hell or if you go to purgatory or you go to heaven. Now, you choose your battle. You choose to be peaceful in mind in the mud, or you choose to think that there's going to be a future but there isn't and be disappointed when you're dead in the mud. Now, oh my god, this tea is so good. It's Ketone. It's mint black tea. Delish. I did think of some questions that personally I believe would open up a lot of debates and also outlooks on why we would believe criticism much more than we would to compliments. So number one, do you actually remember compliments as strongly as criticisms? Which sticks in your brain more? Honestly, I would say that 80% it would be criticism. But then, do I play it in a loop at the end of the day and think to myself that that person is constantly thinking about me that way? Absolutely not. Even if they do, that's them spending their energy on hating me. I'm chilling. Initially, it does stick in the brain much longer if it's criticism than if it's a compliment. Compliment, you kind of brush it off. And where it stems from is from negativity bias. Our brains evolved to notice danger more than safety. So a caveman who ignored a compliment, for example, like nice nice spear, bro, but remember that criticism, such as that berry will kill you, stop picking it, survived longer. So it goes a long way from biology. But that's the reason that things that are negative stamps harder in our brain, because it's protective. It's trying to protect us. So remind yourself that a lot of the times criticism that you're taking is because your brain thinking that you're in great dangers, flight or fight mode. Don't let it confuse you. Don't let the unga bunga brain do the trick on you, because you're not living in the unga bunga times. There also comes with the self-identity piece. What that means is that compliments often clash with the story we already tell ourselves. For example, someone tells you that you're pretty and you're like, wait, you think I'm pretty? Like, what? I actually think that I'm pretty awkward. You see, you diverge your attention from appearance to something that is internal, your personality trait rather than your appearance, because you do not believe yourself to be a certain way, for example, pretty. This is a story that you have convinced yourself. So it's harder for you to hear from other people that can be true. That's a problem. 100 people, 100 opinions, as we always say. Your perception of yourself is your perception. It's an individual perception. Other people see you from all different angles, 100 different angles. Not a single person will have a singular opinion about you. It can have similar opinion. However, it will never be the same, because the experience that each person is getting of you will never be the same that they're exposed to. Person A will not have identical representation of you as person B in their heads. The way that you have communicated and the way that they have grown up, the way that they have went about their life, the external circumstances that they have lived through, everything that accounts to how they perceive people as a whole, their trust levels, their perception of personality, is always going to be different. It's never going to be identical to someone else. What you tell yourself, you are creating a belief system, and this belief system has to be rational, because if you are thinking of it as irrational, what that means is you are not allowing yourself to think differently. You are sticking to one singular belief system that is concrete. However, belief system can change. It's something that is able to evolve. If you want to think rationally, ensure that you question your belief system and the way that you perceive yourself and let others perceive you. So if someone tells you that they think that you're pretty, they have found something pretty in you. You can perceive it that way. But how we listen to it is that criticism usually confirms the inner voice we already believe. So it feels more true and sticks. As someone can say, like, your voice is annoying when they're talking, and this sticks. And I'll tell you from a personal story. When I was back in school, some boys were telling me that I had an annoying voice, and I got insecure about my voice, how I sound and when I spoke. Do I care if my voice is annoying right now? No. I don't think my voice is annoying. My voice is unique. It's me. If you don't like my voice, then don't talk to me. Don't listen to me. There's no need for you to be in the same room as me if we don't associate with each other. There is no need for you to be next to me or in the same 5-meter distance of me. That's it. That's not a me problem at this moment. That's a you problem. If I can't change it, if I can't do anything about it, what do you want me to do with it? So what? Are you gonna pay for my surgery to change my voice? What are you gonna do? No. So shut it. Now we move further. Is it tied to trust? Like, do we assume people say nice things just to be polite, but mean things are the truth slipping out? So when you ask, is it tied to trust? Yes. And I believe it tied to trust deeply. Compliments and criticism hit differently because of how we assign credibility. So if it's someone that is trusted tells you some sort of compliment or criticism, you would take it. You are more likely to listen to it. You are more likely to take it to heart. If it's some random person at a gathering, you go to like a restaurant or a bar and someone comes up to you and like, hey, you look pretty tonight. Looking all dolled up. Man, first of all, you know you look dolled up. You dressed up for the evening. Of course you're gonna look fire. You already know that there's intentions behind that. Sometimes people say that you're pretty, or like any other compliment is in order to acknowledge you as a human existence of of your possession. However, sometimes there's manipulation tactics behind it, that they want some favor in return. A lot of the times communication comes with the fact that we want something in return. Even if it's something that is not materialistic, it can be emotional. We tend to not trust whatever is coming out of people's mouth that we do not know. And it's normal. It's self-protection. Learning from history, if praise in your past was infrequent or manipulative, you learned to distrust it. As long as from past experiences you were protected from any negative experiences when you did not trust a certain compliment, a certain criticism, and it was a positive outcome, your brain have stored a positive, it's like a positive reinforcement with Pavlov dogs. Then we have the next question. When you give compliments, are yours always real? Have you ever faked one? This could explain why you don't trust others. I used to be the person that would say compliment for the sake of saying a compliment. I would just tell like, hey, oh my god, I love your dress. But now I say a compliment when I really think it should be said. Otherwise, I don't say anything. Why give hope to another person when there is none to be given? Why are you blabbing when it gives no value to the other person? What does it give you by blabbing to other person? It gives you nothing. It doesn't even give you any sort of credibility, because what you did there is you lied to the person. Why would you lie? But this is interesting at the same time, because if you know that in the past you have done it, now you sometimes, a lot of the times when someone tells you a compliment, you think, I've done that before, so what if they're doing the same to me? Knowing that you have praised strategically before does make you suspect that others are doing the same, but that is actually projection bias. So it's just you projecting what you have done onto other people, and because of your past and your own actions, you are biasly controlling what you think are others thinking of you. Complicated shite. Another point is that compliments are seen as a social lubricant. You gotta lube it up.
I saw him spit on it. To lube it up!
We often give compliments not to convey truth, but to smooth interaction, reduce tension, or fill silence. Yeah, it's like that moment when you just meet someone new and you tell a compliment to them because you want to seem nice and you want to seem like you have good intentions, and not just stand there and ask them about the weather like all the Brits are doing. Weather is nice today, ain't it? It's quite sunny today. Right, it's not raining. Finally, it's not raining cats and dogs. At the end of the day, when you use them that way, you kind of internalize the rule. Compliments aren't evidence, they're kind of a tool. They're a tool to be used. It makes it harder to trust compliments from others, and it's something that we socially have built. We have built to tell compliments that we devalued compliments as a society. Have you never thought how crazy that is? People before, I bet it was hard to even receive a singular compliment. Nowadays, left and right, it's a penniless acquisition. It genuinely means donkey's ass. But then there's also authentic compliments versus habitual ones. A real compliments are often specific. They are effort-based or tied to genuine admiration. They come with a risk of vulnerability, of exposing envy. They would specifically tell you what you're good at. What is it about you that is, for example, attractive? What is it about your personality that is specifically good, that is specifically an amazing trait? Sometimes when we say a compliment, it can diminish our own sense of self-worth because we are giving more power to the other person. But then when it comes to fake compliments, they are very vague, habitual, or appearance-based. They're safe to give and easy to fake. There is no sauce in it. There is no flavor. There's no seasoning in it. There is no depth. It's just bland, white people food type of type of vibe. If most of our given compliments fall in the second category, which is fake compliments, we subconsciously overgeneralize. Assume most people do too. And that's when we don't know and confused. We are confusion at all times. Who, where, when, how, why? And nobody knows. But that's okay because we got the next question going. The next question. Is it ego or insecurity? Do we think believing compliments make us vain? Now, ego and insecurity are not opposites. They are actually something that collides. So insecurity, it makes you reject compliments because you don't believe you're worthy of them. But ego, and I have to mention and make a strong emphasis in the social sense, makes you afraid that accepting a compliment equals arrogance, self-absorption, or being full of yourself. The tension is, I don't deserve this, versus if I accept it, I'll look conceited. So you're blocked from both sides. Both sides are not exactly ideal. But you know what? From personal experience, I must say, I've seen people that know how to take a compliment and it does not look egoistical, or it doesn't look narcissistic, or it doesn't look arrogant or self-absorbent, or it doesn't make the person look full of themselves. It looks graceful. It feels graceful. It looks like they are just farming aura. It looks like they're actually deserving of that compliment, regardless of who says it. But the way that they are, it can be a small compliment, but the way that they accept it makes the person look like they deserve that compliment, regardless of what it is. And I truly believe that is a work of art, that it's something that you can master. Because I think that the way that we take compliments and how we look at compliments, it should be taught from a small age. I personally don't think there's anything vain about it. Why should you always be open to criticism, but when it comes to compliments, you should second guess it and second doubt it? I don't think it's logical. I don't think it's fair. I don't think that criticism is the only way to go. You should, from a small age, as a parent, as a caregiver, as someone that is in society, should be teaching your kid not only constantly showering them, then their self-ego is going to fill to the brim and be over the top. That's when the lid is going to be flipped, and it's not going to be good because they are going to be arrogant and narcissistic. That's the point where you should teach both sides when to take a compliment and when to dial it down and say like, that's all right, thank you. There is something so graceful about being able and knowing how to take a compliment. It's so beautiful. If it's done right, it's done so elegantly. It's done so posh. I would love to be able to take a compliment, because I feel like when you're growing up, I don't exactly remember that my parents have taught me how to take a compliment. They did give me compliments. Even right now, when I receive a compliment, I try to diminish it. I try to oh, it's okay, no need to, it's fine. But now, is it the question of my own perception? Maybe the problem is within me and I'm just trying to deflect it. So if we were to think of it that way, if your self-image is fragile, both extremes feel dangerous. Compliments threaten to inflate you unnaturally, so by ego and your own personal insecurities, and criticism threatens to crush you because you're insecure. So which one is it? It's something that you should look into yourself and see not only how you should be taking a compliment, but also seeing that it doesn't unnaturally inflate you when you do. Next question. Do you think compliments are actually harder to give than criticism? It's a yes and no answer because it really depends. Compliments, as we have talked, fake compliments are really easy to give. But also, if you were to think about it, what stops you from giving an actual sincere compliment? If you see someone that is pretty, why don't you come up to them and tell them, hey, the dress that you're wearing is cute. The hair today the way that you did it, fantastic, flowing, it's bobbing. What's really stopping us to say it? Is it our own ego? Is it our own insecurity that we think if we are giving power to the other person, the power dynamic? What if we're not giving the power? What if we are actually sharing the power? You are not letting that person stay in the basic level that they're in and they're leveling up with you. If you want to think it that way, if you're scared about power dynamics, think of it that they're leveling up with you. You know, something of that sort, something of this, something that can actually help you mentally challenge your inner thinking of how it can be perceived, how it can be said. But then criticism, I feel like criticism is harder to give, especially if it's in both cases, private and public. Because you don't know if that person, they will reply back and they can talk back real good. Now, there are some people that are talented pushing back criticism and talking back. They are just really quick-witted. I am that person sometimes, not always. I get hot-headed. I used to get hot-headed much more often before. Now I'm a little bit cooler. Now I'm more like, let's assess the situation, and if I know that the situation I cannot win, I would rather just stand back. Just accept my wrongdoings and be like, okay, all right, I got it. Bro, you stink! What I'm trying to say is that you see, like, criticism, if you give it in private, you don't know how the whole situation is gonna run out. Like, it's also power dynamic, but it's less because you're not embarrassing the other person. You're actually being polite. You're trying to be like, hey man, the way that you were acting today is a little bit, don't do that. It's kind of embarrassing with the friend group and everything. Like, you know, you can be helping, but they can be taking it in the wrong way. Now, if you do it publicly, now that might not be your friend anymore. Unless if they're a true friend, then in that case, they would accept it, but they would still be like, bro, you could have just told me personally. So it really depends. Both cases, it is hard and it is not. But I believe that criticism is harder to give than compliments. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Tell me, what do you think? Tell me in the comments, what do you think? Compliments, it's something that I do learn to try to take. Like I was telling you, like there is ways that you need to learn to take a compliment. You need to know your self-worth and you need to try to accept of other people of what they see in you. Criticism, you can take it, you cannot. It's up to you how much of it is actually true, how much of it is actually valuable for your growth and for your future self. It's an analysis that you should make. It can hurt in the moment when you're being criticized, but after you analyze the whole situation, you should say to yourself, okay, this is the time where I can accept a criticism and I will try to work on myself. Or you can just go, you know nothing of me and the way that I have reacted is because of XYZ and not because of how you have perceived it. There are so many circumstances that you should take into account before you actually take a criticism. But you know, at the end of the day, it's up to you to decide. It's really up to you to decide of what you should believe and what you should work on. It's really up to you. It's nobody else that can make you better other than yourself. Other people can guide you in a certain direction, but it's your choice to choose which direction that you want to go if you want to follow it. I don't think I figured out how to accept compliments just yet. I still need to learn how to do it, and I'll tell you when I do. But maybe the first step is just to notice when I reject them without even thinking. It's the, hey, I don't know, I mean, thank you, but you know, it's not really like that. It's like, it's just today that I actually washed my hair. Stop doing that. Just say thank you. It's nice hearing it. People don't, a lot of the time, some people don't say it with harm. It's harmless for you to accept. It doesn't make you arrogant. Just think to yourself, what if you tried letting one in, letting one compliment in, and see what happens, how you feel, how it will progress. And same with criticism. People critique for a reason. People critique artwork, they critique movies, they critique series, they critique everything. All around us is criticism. And through that criticism, We evolve, because without criticism, we stay in one place. Because what is there to get better at? What is there to improve on? If we don't hear opinions, we don't start questioning value and the morality of things. Despite the fact that criticism feels more believable, try to make yourself let compliments start to be as believable as the criticism that you receive from all around. It's important to value yourself from perspective of others, as it gives you a different side of you that maybe you haven't recognized yet. But thank you so much for being with me. It was really nice diving into this topic. It was really nice chatting with you all, and I don't know, I just dwell here.